They say the forest holds secrets, that when the sun dips behind the trees and the air turns still, the woods become a different world altogether. One where unseen eyes watch your every step and old paths remember every traveler who came before and those who never left. In tonight's terrifying special from True Terror Files Official, we dive into a collection of chilling, true hiking horror stories from people who ventured too far into the wilderness and came back with nightmares they'll never forget. These aren't ghost stories passed down by campfire light. These are real-life horror encounters from hikers, campers, and outdoor explorers who witnessed the unexplainable in remote, isolated trails across the world. Our first terrifying account comes from Sam, a wildlife photographer from Washington State, who shared his eerie experience hiking through the dense Olympic National Park. What began as a peaceful afternoon trek to a hidden waterfall quickly turned sinister when Sam noticed the forest around him growing unnaturally silent. No birdsong after taking a few photographs of the misty trees. No wind through the branches, only the sound of his own footsteps crunching the leaves. Sam spotted what he thought was another hiker standing at a distance off the trail, facing away from him. Thinking nothing of it at first, Sam continued on, but minutes later, he noticed the same figure, now ahead of him on the trail, unmoving and still facing away. When he finally broke into a clearing, alarmed by the impossible coincidence, Sam turned back, only to hear the unmistakable sound of footsteps matching his pace on the path behind him. The figure was gone, but a single, old hiking boot sat in the center of the clearing, decades old and still damp. As the fog thickened, at first dismissing it as wind or hallucination, feeling unnerved, she attempted to retrace her steps. Our second, unsettling tale takes us to Vermont's Green Mountains, where an experienced hiker named Jenna disappeared in 2017 for over 6 hours. Strangely, her GPS and phone showed no signal, only to be found in a part of the forest she couldn't recall walking to. After hours of disoriented wandering and growing panic, Jenna stumbled upon an old, according to Jenna's account, shared later in a regional hikers forum. Locals later revealed that Shepherd's Clearing was a long-abandoned campsite from the 1920s. She was hiking solo along the Mad Tom Notch Trail when a dense fog rolled in, reducing visibility to mere feet. Jenna claimed to hear her name being called softly from multiple directions. Moments later, a pair of hikers found her sitting by a dead tree. She soon realized the voices were distinct, male, female, and even childlike. At dawn, only to find the trail markers missing and the forest unfamiliar, though she was near an area with reliable coverage. Rusted sign reading Shepherd's Clearing, a name she'd never seen on any map. Assuming it was wildlife, they ignored it. But one by one, Lindsay reported that the forest fell deathly silent around midnight, unresponsive and visibly shaken. In the morning, their entire campsite had been subtly disturbed, tent flaps unzipped, associated with several unsolved disappearances. Another harrowing incident happened in Arizona's Superstition Mountains, where two friends, Eric Bowman and Mike Torres, locals told them they had likely camped near an unmarked burial site used generations earlier, went on a weekend hiking trip, known for strange legends. On their second night, while camping near an old mining trail, Eric woke to what he thought was the sound of someone circling their tent. Though assuming it was an animal, what unsettled them was the deliberate, slow pacing, which stopped whenever one of them spoke. The perimeter around their tent was marked by a perfect ring of small stacked stones that had been there the night before. A week after they returned, Eric discovered a strange marking on his ankle, a small circular discoloration resembling a handprint. Paranormal investigators later confirmed several hikers had reported similar experiences in the area. To this day, he refuses to hike alone. When he finally made it back to a road, with tailies of shadow figures and ghost lights leading people off the main trails. Further east, in the Appalachian Mountains, a group of college students camping in a secluded hollow experienced a terrifying night in the spring of 2018, according to survivor Lindsay Poole. After a full day of hiking, the group set up camp in a clearing they thought was safe. As night fell, strange knocking sounds echoed through the trees. Whether it's the spirits of the lost, ancient forests, guardians, members of the group began feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, and strange lights flickered through the trees, too high to be flashlights and too dim for lanterns. One student saw what appeared to be a tall, pale figure standing between the trees, vanishing when approached. Items moved, and eerie stick symbols hanging from branches overhead. Our final horror account comes from Riley Carter, an urban explorer from Ontario, who ventured into the dense Algonquin forest in search of abandoned logging camps. While exploring a derelict cabin foundation, Riley noticed peculiar stone arrangements resembling primitive effigies. As dusk settled in, a deep humming sound filled the air, not mechanical, but almost like dozens of overlapping voices humming in unison. Terrified, Riley attempted to leave, only to find that his compass spun erratically and his phone's GPS refused to load. As the woods darkened, Riley swore he heard footsteps in the undergrowth and glimpses of movement from the corner of his eye. Forced to spend the night perched in a tree, Riley recalled how distant figures appeared at the tree line at dawn, tall, unnaturally thin, and swaying rhythmically. His vehicle, parked miles away, had strange muddy handprints smeared on the windows. These true hiking horror stories remind us that the wilderness, no matter how beautiful, can conceal things beyond our understanding, or unknown forces that prey on the isolated and vulnerable. These chilling encounters have one thing in common. They all happen to those who believed they were alone. If you've ever experienced something strange on a hiking trail, an eerie noise, a fleeting shadow, or a moment of inexplicable terror, tell your story in the comments below. Your encounter could be featured in an upcoming episode of True Terrifiers Official. Subscribe now for real horror stories, paranormal encounters, haunted trails, and unsolved wilderness mysteries delivered every day. And remember, in the deep woods, you're never truly alone.